Thanks very much. Representative Grijalva of Arizona is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the witnesses for being here. I spent 20 years on Southern Arizona's largest school district governing board as a governing board member. I'm a proud product of our public schools, as are my 3 children, and I have many, many friends who are teachers. Teacher training emphasizes the importance of parental involvement and how critical it is, not that educators know best, but that it should be a partnership and collaboration. And I have never heard of some of the situations that were brought up by Ms. Figliola ever, not ever, in any of the 20 years that I've been there. So I'm very concerned with some of the rhetoric that's being thrown out as if it's commonplace, when it isn't. So FERPA and PPRA already give parents broad rights to inspect their children's education records, review instructional materials, consent or opt out of certain surveys and data, and uses that a condition of federal funds. Some recent disputes appear to reflect confusion about procedures in requesting information from schools, not an absence of federal parental rights. So as a mom of 3 children in our public schools, I get information about everything that they're doing. I have the option to opt out of any information, and most of the information requires active parental consent for my children to be a part of it. So I think that if we had more people involved in our public schools, more parents and grandparents that are very intimately connected to what's happening in our public schools, the fallacy and rhetoric around this issue wouldn't come out. It wouldn't be this confusing. So I am asking Mr. Vensky, what can the federal government do to support consistent, equitable implementation of the laws and protect parental rights and student privacy?
I think 3 things come to mind. One is updating regulations to reflect current trends and situations that schools and educators face every day. Unfortunately, for example, the FERPA regulations remain out of date, where 2 of the exceptions that were passed by this body into law have not been incorporated into those regulations. Similarly, key definitions like what is an education record are prone to misapplication in the digital world. Similarly, the PPRA regulations have not been updated since 1984 and no longer reflect the current version of the statute. So those will be key for ensuring that schools are aware of their obligations. Similarly, reiterating and existing guidance and providing in-depth training, which is something that the department strives to do but have minimal staff to do so, will be key. There's extensive department guidance, for example, on what fees can be charged for requests under FERPA or PPRA. You have to dig. And I've written a book on these laws, and I had to dig to find that guidance. Yeah. So I think making that more accessible would be very beneficial for schools, parents, and students.
Thank you. This Republican obsession with gender identity is frightening to me. It really is. Time and time again, the Republican majority have chosen to promote bigotry, fear-mongering, and marginalization of vulnerable students under the guise of parental rights instead of prioritizing issues that would help families, students, and schools. In contrast, Democrats stand for true parental rights. We also stand for the rights of students to feel safe, supported, and respected in their classrooms. We stand for the rights of teachers to do their jobs without fear of being forced to violate the trust of students. And we stand for the idea that education should be about nurturing the whole child, not creating political distractions. Mr. Vensky, is the relationship between teachers and students and the trust they build important to a student's development, growth, and educational career?
It is critically important. When I was in the classroom, parents were my first partners in educating their children. They were the ones that I called when something went well, when something went poorly, and they were always my allies there. But of course, students also turn to teachers among other trusted adults for advice, and those are important relationships to maintain. And that's why some policies that have been enacted at the state and local level that require and mandate disclosure are so dangerous because they will jeopardize that particular relationship and not provide flexibility for schools or educators to determine how to relay that critical information to parents. It's not about blocking parents out, it's about ensuring that schools have flexibility about when to bring them in.
Yeah, and there are so many situations where school districts and teachers are dealing with unfunded mandates. I would hate for us to look at some of these really rare situations that may or may not have come up, interpreted different ways, for us to change wholesale some federal policies, when really, I think your suggestion on looking at how to improve those policies makes the most sense. Thank you, and I yield back.